It's coming, 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 coming.
Yo, what is going on, Warriors? It's your boy Finicki back with another video, and today, as you guys see in the title, it is going to be the Season 4 weapon tier list, and after about 2.5, now almost 3 weeks of Apex coming out for Season 4, I feel like I have a good grasp and understanding of what I think are the best weapons and what they're used for in what type of situation, and with attachments and stuff like that, what I believe is the guns that you should be using, what guns you shouldn't be using. So, yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Also, I'm a little sick still, so if you hear anything, I'm sorry. Love y'all. Okay, bye. So just to explain the rankings real quick, the S tier is you should be picking up. If not you, somebody on your team should be picking up every single time. It is very strong, best weapons in the game, the meta if you can pick it up. And A+ is you can hard carry a game. You probably need attachments with it, but if you get full attachments, you can hard carry with this gun. Or if some of them may not even need attachments, they're just that good. It's kind of a hit or miss, a little bit of a mix between some guns that don't need attachments, but you can essentially, this gun is very, very good high key meta and things that you are wanting to be picking up in your games. A is you can use it probably throughout the whole entire game. It may not be the best in its class, but it's consistent and can probably win you a game. You can definitely win a game with these. You'll probably need some attachments with it, but it overall is probably a decent gun, overall balanced gun. B, you're probably going to only want it early game if kind of depending on, you might need a specific attachment or you just aren't really taking this gun into mid to late game. C is you try to avoid these. Definitely would only be an early game type of situation where you would just be picking it up. Would potentially even need attachments to really kind of keep up into like maybe even into a mid game type of situation. But that's kind of the ranking explanation and where I'm going with it. But we'll start off with a Hemlock A. I think it's A tier because of the single fire rate buff. I think it does a really good job of that mid-range, in between the mid-range and the long-range type of situation. You're able to hit that single fire and hit the shots pretty accurately, and then whenever it gets into a mid-range fight, you can hit either the single fire, you can continue on that, or you could do the burst. So I think it's a good spot. You'd have to have a sight. I don't really like the iron sight, but some people like it. But that's where I'm at with it. I think Flatline is also in the A tier. You would need a mag for it. Mid-range, I feel like it drops off really hard for how horizontal the recoil pattern is. I think the Flatline may even have some pretty hard like kick to the, I think it's either top left or top right as well, but it also moves side to side, so it's not one of my favorite recoil patterns, but it can fry in close range to close to mid range type of situation, especially if you get a mag and you can hit a few headshots. You can absolutely fry. Really good early game, really good early game, but then you can take it into mid and late game and still do some damage. EVA 8 is close because I was almost going to put it in A+, just due to the fact of the sheer burst that can actually potentially happen, even though it's not really a burst weapon compared to the PK. But I would say with the EVA 8, you would still need a bolt with it, but it's a great gun in the close range fight, but it drops off super hard in the mid-range, obviously, but like the close to mid, it really kind of drops off. There's better options for you, but if you can end up getting a double tap or a purple bolt, blue bolt, it really feels pretty strong in a close range fight if you can end up hitting your shots. So I think I'm gonna put it in A tier because I think you can take it throughout the game, but I think there's better options. But it is still not a bad gun, not terrible gun at all. So we're gonna go with Havoc A+. With the change of the energy this season from the stack of 20 to now to 30. I think the Havoc's in a phenomenal spot. You don't even have to have, with the removal of energy mags, they kept it at, what is it, 32, 36? I wouldn't really know, but I know it's got a pretty large clip still. If you're able to control the recoil in the first 3 to 4 bullets, the Havoc is one of the best guns in the game, and energy is easier to find, more of it. I think Havoc is super duper strong if you can end up learning the recoil pattern. One of the highest time to kill, or one of the shortest time to kill, nice, in the game, and just the sheer, you can do in a clean 3v3 fight with somebody, you can kill 1.5 people to 2 people with just one mag, and that alone makes it an A+ tier. Next is G7. I'm gonna add that also to A+. With the adding of sniper rounds, it's no longer a sniper. They changed it into an AR, and so you'll still need a 2x scope, 3x scope to kind of make it effective in the mid to long range type of situation. But it's really a good option for that type of if that's your 2 guns. If you're running a long range and a short range, G7 is still super good, even with the rate of fire loss and with the damage nerf. I still think it's a great option, and it's really not a bad gun to have. Countered with a good like PK or R9 or R3 or something close range. Devotion, with the changes of the drop care packages, game packages, Devo is now a gun that goes into there, which makes it super strong. It is a gun you need to pick up. I think it is the best gun in the game right now. It is so good at obviously close to medium range, but I think it's in a great spot. I think they did a good job of choosing that Devotion is one of the best guns when fully equipped with everything, and you need to pick it up every single time. It is so good. Even it comes with a 2x bruiser, which is good because close range you might not even really be aiming in with it. You'll probably be hip firing, but then you get to use it with the that mid range with the 2x bruiser. It fries. It's really good. Charge rifle. I'm gonna put A just because you can no longer spam it due to the sniper rounds only being 20 a thing, and so 20 stack per 20 a stack. You can only hold 20 per stack in the backpack. Gosh, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, it's just it's not the best option, I don't think, when it comes to snipers. It still does a lot of damage. You can end up hitting your shot. I think they did a really good job, so I applaud Respawn for making the nerf on this gun. So it's still viable, still something you can use. I just think there's better options if you're going to use something for a super long range to like long medium range. Alternator. Yeah. Excuse me. I'm going to go B here, due to the fact that the alternator has its moments early game due to how good the damage is and how big the clip is, just the regular gun, no attachments. I think it does really well against a person with white armor or no armor at all at the beginning. So it's not a bad option, but there's ways obviously to counter it. It shoots super slow, so if you can end up getting around it through different environments, if someone's shooting at you, there's just ways to counter an alternator that I think makes it not good enough to make it into a mid game, unless you absolutely you spawn and you get respawned mid game, so you have to pick up an alternator. Just try to avoid it going in, even with the attachments. If you have a fully attached alternator, you could get a R9 and R3, and you'd be in a better situation than just having an alternator. There's just better guns, but it's not a bad gun for early game. Kraber S tier. I don't think I really have to spend much time on this. obviously comes out of care package, 150, 223 to low profile individuals in the head. It's really good. So Kraber should be picked up. I'm not really a sniper guy, but I'll pick it up if I absolutely have to. It's because it's that good with damage and it's fun to use. SoaR A+ tier. I almost put it in S tier due to how good people are with it on computer. This is more of a computer gun or PC mouse and key versus console due to the instant kick that comes from it and the because it is a very, very kick heavy gun since it is an energy weapon and it's no longer in a care package. It's similar to the Havoc. I prefer the Havoc over the SoaR, but I know there's people on mouse and key that prefer the SoaR over the Havoc. They both shred, and I think they both have a really good place right now in the meta. But I think overall, the SoaR has its moments. For me, as a controller player, I would rather only use the SoaR only whenever it's super, super close range. And the reason why is because it has the pink bullets coming at you is really frustrating to go against because you can't see anything. And it's got a decent clip, as in you don't even have to reload. All you have to do is make sure it just doesn't overheat, and people are getting really good with that. So it's not my pick up, but it's not a gun that I'm going to tell people to shy away from because of the damage output. Next is a longbow. I'm gonna put it in A tier, just due to the fact that I haven't got to use the longbow a ton this season, but it's not. Excuse me. But with the changes, like I said, to the sniper, if you're wanting a gun that's similar to that of the Sentinel, which I'm gonna talk about, I think the longbow is a good option. It's a better option than the Sentinel. Ooh, yeah, I said it. Then just because I think that the damage you can end up getting more, and I like the way that the fire rate is compared to that of the Sentinel, and that's obviously just my opinion, but it's not a bad option for a sniper. Like I said, I don't really use snipers that much, but this is it's not a bad option. Mastiff S+, not much I have to say about this either. You've probably been Mastiffed and thought, wow, I just got fried. Yeah, because you got hit for 160 by one shot. It's because the Mastiff is really strong. If you're using it, you have to be very... you can almost kind of be reckless in a way, but you could also use your corners. The Mastiff gives you a lot of possibilities to be able to use your environment, but also, play aggressive. So whatever play style you want to do, I was trying to say that. But the Mastiff, obviously pick it up. If not you, then somebody else on your team. If you end up having an entry fragger, you usually want to have that person be the Mastiff individual. Like it's good on a Wraith so they can shoot and then phase out, or that of like a Gibby so they can just be a tank all the way through. Just a good option. Mozambique, the poor gun is still a meme, and it's still in the C tier because it's not good. Even with the hammer points, you have to have them. I know about there's there's a handful of people, yeah, that I know that are good with this weapon, and there are like that they actually use it often. But other than that, the majority of people do not know how to use this weapon, as well as it is just not good. And I'm just going to leave it at that, even with hammer points. Okay, so I'm going to put, surprise, probably the biggest surprise. There's two. That B, I'm going to put the P20 because of the hammer points. I think it is way better than the P2020, as well as at the beginning of the game, the P2020 is disgusting with hammer points. And now that they have a gold hammer point this season, or a gold P2020, it automatically comes with hammer points. It is disgusting. I mean, I was playing ranked and pred lobbies, and I landed on the train and got a P2020, killed 6 people. 6. In about a span of 45 seconds because of how good it is. So with that reason alone, I'm gonna say it's a B tier. I almost like it is an okay gun to take into late game if you have a smart team and can coordinate breaking of shields and using the P2020 with hammer points. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's pretty good when you can use it right and effective in a team fight. So really, this gun can be taken into late game. You just gotta be really, really smart with your team. It's kind of depend. A very, very select pick. PK A plus. I mean, even with bare minimum, it's still an A plus gun. Just as the burst itself, 121 in the head, like a full body shot. It's a really good gun to have, especially if you can end up getting a choke on it, and then make sure you get a bolt. The fire rate will improve. I don't really have to say much about PK because it's pretty good and it's A plus tier. Now, this one was tough for me because I think Prowler could be A plus, just because now with the changes of, I believe, the damage and the I think that's a little bit less kick on the actual burst. Not 100% sure, but I know that the damage is much more on the Prowler this season. I almost should put it into A plus. I think it's in a really, really strong spot to where it can make a push to an A plus tier, just because of how large the mag size is with a purple mag, blue mag, and the damage output. Also with the passive of the heavy ammo, which makes it where people are stunned, so they can't sprint. I think the Prowler is in a really good hands of a support player, able to kind of come in with that secondary fire, just for how hard it hits. Try and go for headshots. The Prowler with like select fire is really good. You can even put that on like a Wraith player, or like a Bangalore. And then I would say with it being a burst fire early game, it's really, really good with that on burst fire. Yeah, I think overall Prowler is solid gun. But you still need attachments for it. R3, I'm like kind of in the middle between A plus and A, but as of recent, I've been using the R3. I have had to use attachments, but it's still pretty good base gun. I'm gonna put the R3 and the R9. We'll see. I'm gonna put them both like right here, and we'll talk about them both real quick. Both solid guns now, even with the nerfs to the R9. I think that they're both solid guns, no attachments, but with attachments they can hardcore carry. I like using the R3 on like a Gibby situation. I like using R9 on like a Ray situation. Kind of depends on the legend and how you're trying to play. R3 is a little bit more passive, but you can still get up close and still do some damage. But you're going to probably need more help from your teammate. R3 still has the capability of a one clip situation up close, but doesn't have nearly as good versatility as a R3. But you can I don't know, it's more bursty with the R9. So excuse me. I think both have their place, and both are still really good this season and great option to take into from early all the way to late game. RE45 is in C tier. I don't know how to explain it, but like it's just not good. It's not good. It doesn't have a big enough clip even with an extended mag to really, I don't know. I just don't think it's good. I think it's one of the worst guns in the game, obviously, and I think it needs a little bit of a rework, maybe not. Whenever it had disruptor rounds, it was like usable, but now that there's no disruptor rounds, RE45 is cheeks, folks. It's cheeks. You have to use it early game, then that's fine, but you can maybe clip somebody, maybe, with no armor. It's just not good. Alright, the Sentinel is going to be an A. I know people are going to be upset that's not A plus or S, because you have to hit a headshot with this gun. It is similar to that of the Longbow Season 2, except the fire rate is not nearly as strong as the longbow season 2. So I think the sniper, I think it's okay. I think the sentinel is okay, but I think because of that, the fire rate with it, specifically with the bolt action, once you hit it, even if you use the battery, it's not even really worth it to use the battery, by the way. I think overall, like, it's not worth using over, I don't know, that of the longbow, in my opinion, because the longbow is at least somewhat like relevant in a close range fight. Because with the sentinel, you are forced to use a second. You're forced to use another gun like for your close range fights, simply because the sentinel is so hot garbage up close, and it's as good, if not a little worse, than others in the category for long range. So is the sentinel worth picking up? Yes. Can you win a game with it? Yes. Will you see it in ranked? Some people will probably use it. Will you see it in competitive? It will probably get used in competitive, but you have to be a very elite person to be using that at a super high level in a super, like, in a competitive rank or competitive match. I'm talking a lot about the Sentinel due to it being the new gun in the season, and I just don't know if it is the best option if you're going to have a sniper rifle in this. I would say the best option right now is longbow, then maybe the charge rifle and the Sentinel are close, and then we'll get to the triple take later, but I guess I could do triple take now. It's in between B and A, but we'll put it in A for now, but I think it's more on the B side, because it is a little bit more spammy, and you'd have to have a choke for it to be pretty effective. Same as the last season, triple take is in an okay spot. It needs a buff. Not sure how much of a buff, but it needs a buff. And since you only get to carry 20 in the backpack, it's kind of hard to justify picking up a triple take besides early game for those little nice clips. And the fire rate's nice, so you can use it up close, sort of. I don't know. It's just my opinion, obviously. Spitfire, I'm so, like, once again debating to put it into B, just because, I mean, early game it's like very strong, and it puts pressure on a individual, as I've put in a video before. The Spitfire puts pressure on the person that you're shooting at, because it requires them to be precise with their shots. They have to hit their shots or they're going to die. Spitfire, just because of how much of a clip it has base. So I'm going to keep it at B, because you wouldn't really want to take the Spitfire into mid to late game. Because you can maybe take it into mid game, but don't take it into late game, because the Spitfire is going to get dumpstered on. But early game, it's really not a bad pickup to have. But you got to be in your mid to close range. I wouldn't even say mid, because it's pretty garbage mid range. It's pretty garbage mid range. It's got to be mid. It's got to be the mid short range to short range fight for the Spitfire to be effective. But it'll get you a few kills at the beginning, but you want to get rid of it as much as you can. Next is the Wingman. I'm gonna say A+ tier. Yes, they nerfed it, but they also buffed it at the same time. If you haven't seen that video, I put out talking about my reaction to the Wingman, and I think overall Wingman's in a great spot. It's usable even off rip now because of the 5 mag, and it only goes up to 8. So even having a heavy mag on it now doesn't really matter, which is not bad. You got to be a little bit more precise with your Wingman shots with less mag, but once you get into that blue-purple range, then you're solid. The Wingman's the best overall from every type of angle that you need. So like the close to mid to I'd say it maybe drops off long range, but you can even use it long range with a 2x bruiser, or even just be precise with your shots with a 1x HCOG Digisight. So I don't know. This is my tier list for this season. Tell me what you guys think. Obviously, You know, there could be a few that are placed here and there that are a little bit different, but I'd love to hear y'all's opinion. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you guys agree or you disagree or whatever, please leave a like. It actually helps out my channel a lot. And if you guys haven't subscribed before, please consider subscribing. But this has been your boy Finicki signing out, blasting off. Hope to see you again for another video. God bless y'all. Deuces, baby.